You're watching Your Quest on Happier TV, where we answer your questions about happiness at home and at work. Our question today comes from Tel Aviv, Israel, and is about raising children in the digital age. I have two children aged 14 and 12 who, like most of their friends, enjoy spending time in front of the screen, watching TV, playing video games, being on social media, and so on. If it were up to them, they'd spend most of their waking hours in front of a screen. While I do set some restrictions on screen time, I feel like I'm fighting an uphill battle, which is making me unpopular with my kids. They always say to me that their friends' parents do not limit screen time and that it's unfair that I do. You're absolutely right. It is an uphill battle, but it's one worth fighting. There is an increasing amount of research showing just how detrimental it is for children as well as adults to spend hours on end in front of the screen. Sitting in front of the screen usually means that the children are not physically active, which leads to both physical and psychological damage. Additionally, the screen is replacing other activities that are important for healthy development. Chief among them is face-to-face interactions with real people. When you limit screen time, it may be helpful for you to provide your kids with alternative activities. For example, encourage them to engage in sports by signing them up for after-school programs or by going to the park with them and kicking a ball around. Invite them to read with you as you put aside an hour or so a couple of times a week for this activity. Kids often follow our example, and if they see us read, they're more likely to do the same. Invite them to play those old-fashioned board games with you or among themselves. After a while, they're likely to participate in sports, read, or play board games without you. But at the beginning, your involvement may be necessary. You see, kids gravitate towards the screen with or without you. It's analogous to the pull most people have towards sugar. You don't need to ask your kids to eat chocolate. If it's around, they'll want to eat it. Similarly, when it comes to a screen, if it's around and available, they'll gravitate towards it. In contrast, getting your children to eat healthfully in a sugar-full world may require more encouragement and management on your part. Similarly, in a screen-full world, you may have to jumpstart your children's involvement in other activities. Keep in mind that it's worthwhile investment. And if your children are bored, that's okay too. When the kids of my friend, the psychologist Shirley Yuval Yair, complain that they're bored, she says to them, "That's okay, sweetheart. Just be bored with dignity." Kids, given the time, eventually find ways to entertain themselves. Keep in mind that the screen is not all bad. Far from it. Quantity and quality both matter a great deal. There are educational programs on TV and there are video games that promote thinking and develop important motor skills. As much as possible, steer them towards positive programs and games. And if you think something is bad for them, then it's perfectly fine to forbid it. When it comes to quantity, the question is, how much screen time is okay? A good rule of thumb is that between an hour and two a day, beyond what they get in school, is fine. Having said that, if your child is a committed programmer who loves to write code, then I wouldn't limit screen time, as long as the child gets sufficient exercise and enjoys some real interactions with real people. You can explain to your kids that your restrictions are not about being fair or unfair, but rather about what you believe is best for them. One of the ways in which child rearing has gone awry, especially in the West, is the belief that a family is a democratic unit. It's not. While children's opinions and desires need to be heard and respected, it is ultimately the parents who decide about how the children are raised. And if the parent believes that screen time should be limited, then screen time should be limited, regardless of the child's protestations. Your mandate as a parent is not to bend over backwards to please your children, but rather to do what you deem is best for them. Hopefully, in the future, your precious children will appreciate your steadfastness. Good luck with it all. And viewers, if you have a question regarding your own or others' happiness, please send it to Happier TV.